New all-time highs for silver were just broken at 54.15, which was set on Thursday, October 16th. Every time I upload a new video, I state, silver just broke through all-time highs. I know, I sound like a broken record. The most bizarre part is that it shows no signs of slowing down. The truth is that it's just getting steamier. Precious metal prices don't often spike by 50 cents or even $1 daily. Crypto should handle that. But silver is behaving like a cryptocurrency surge at the moment. Everything is going haywire, and costs are going to skyrocket. I'm referring to something that the majority of people, including the skeptics who assured me that silver would never reach $50 by year's end, would have never predicted it would do. Have you heard from those folks lately? I am uncertain. Envision them? Reason being, I am not. Whatever the case may be, silver continues to shatter records daily, and I have no doubt that tomorrow we'll see yet another record shattered. However, I do have one question for you. Is everything set? It is currently 6:03 p.m. on Thursday, October 16th at 5:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The price of silver is 54.14. Today, it reached a new record high of 54.35. This is absolutely mind-blowing, people. However, I am aware that there are many new stackers, and it is necessary for them to comprehend the meaning of terms like market backwardation when we discuss them. We need to be aware of the current state of the silver price. How are these prices changing? Why are the LBMA and COMEX not communicating with one another? For those who are just starting out, it's important to know not only why silver is valuable, even though the dollar isn't, but also what factors influence the price of silver. We'll cover all of that in this video. Rest assured, we will address all of that today, everyone. Everything that is happening will be explained by us. It's so difficult that not even a seasoned stacker should try to breeze through it. But first and foremost, I want to say hello. Your daily silver news broadcast is much appreciated. If you would want to be updated on global events and their impact on precious metal prices, and silver in particular, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button. My name is Silver Slayer. At about noon and 6 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, I publish new content daily. I apologize in advance, but this video will be delayed. However, I do my best to upload at least one video every day, preferably 2 during those times. Here then, let's take a look at the situation. So, learning about silver market backwardation and how it will affect prices in 2025. I appreciate how thoroughly they cover all of this in this post. How is silver backwardation different from the market as a whole, for example right now? Understanding this kind of information is crucial. I will include a link to this in the description. So, let's go into the topic of silver. When silver prices for immediate delivery are higher than the values of future contracts, a phenomenon known as backwardation occurs in the market. This is a major deviation from the usual trading patterns. Significant price movements that restructure precious metals markets are frequently preceded by this event, which implies acute physical metal scarcity. In addition, these variables are having an ever-increasing impact on the global financial system's silver market squeeze dynamics. Therefore, it's crucial to comprehend them. Backwardation, says Monetary Metals creator and CEO Keith Weiner, is a sign of a shortage in the market rather than a shortage of the metal itself. I could make the case that, despite his assertions to the contrary, practically all of the silver ever mined is still in existence. I will return to that later. While it's true that almost all silver ever mined is still in circulation, he stresses that the question of metal holders' willingness to sell their inventory for market returns determines the true meaning of scarcity in a market environment. Suppose you overhear someone saying something that partially makes sense, but they word it in a way that makes it sound pretentious. Since the majority of silver is simply discarded in landfills without ever being recycled or reclaimed, it may be said that all of the silver that has been mined is still in existence. I see. Laptops, cell phones, and other electronic devices use the vast majority of silver. The waste ends up in landfills. No one is reusing or recycling that. Because of its 85 times greater value than silver, gold is recycled. Also, the majority of gold ends up in various forms of jewelry, bars, and coins. Therefore, it is remelted into further bars, coins, and jewelry. Also, because to the high monetary value of gold, more people are inclined to pawn their costly jewelry, such as gold necklaces, rings, and other pieces. The value of a jewelry is too high to warrant pawning it for only $2.50. However, a few $100s can be yours for the taking in exchange for a gold necklace. Remelting, scrapping, recycling, and reusing the majority of gold's production is the norm. Never to be recycled, the majority of silver ends up in landfills. So, in a sense, it is still present. But consider it from this angle. It will only take a few decades to use up an ounce of silver that is extracted from the earth. Somewhere in a landfill, it will go. The very fact that an ounce of mined gold is a monetary metal ensures that it will remain in circulation for generations to come. That is not going to happen. Silver will continue to be remelted and reused. So it's strange that he stresses the fact that almost all of the silver that has ever been mined is still around. We can't access that, thus it could not be true. With record-breaking supply shortages of over 1 billion ounces in the past 5 or 6 years alone, recycling would not have been able to reduce the amount of silver required. Consequently, the majority of silver is an undesirable byproduct. Finding silver is usually a happy accident. In fact, they aren't even trying to find it. Their target is gold, lead, and zinc. But if they do find it, it will be a bonus. They aren't actively seeking silver, but if they find any, they will steal it. There are currently very few silver mines, and those that do exist are either being nationalized, the subject of protests, or subject to new rules and regulations. So, it's not quite true, but it's close. Well, that's all. As if it were a partial truth. That, however, is merely my opinion regarding the state of the market as of late. There would be an abundance of silver if what he's saying were true, so allow me to pause. Plus, if there's a shortage or any other issue, it's just because nobody wants to sell it. No, it is incorrect. There's a lot more to it than that. The 1-to-1 ratio of the said silver in these vaults that may be transformed into physical delivery necessitates the creation of numerous paper contracts. That is incorrect. Check out the US Mint if you're looking for some concrete examples. Consider the US Mint's current predicament in light of all the silver-related issues. They couldn't fulfill these American Eagle orders, so a few years ago they had to fight with Congress. Their supply continued dwindling. They were compelled to produce an emergency 1 million supply by the San Francisco Mint by the year's end. In 2021, they were forced to officially acknowledge it. Such silver planchers have eluded them, because no one wants to sell to them. Hello everyone. Yeah. So long as this video remains focused on the subject at hand, I will refrain from speaking. No, we need to proceed. Accordingly, this principle has been dramatically illustrated by the current state of the market. Market watchers describe the silver market's 20% annualized rate of backwardation on October 10th, 2025, as a harsh and rare event following a long period without such conditions. In comparison to regular market conditions and structure, how is silver backwardation different? Storage, insurance, and financing costs cause silver futures to often trade higher than spot prices. The long-term inherent cost of storing actual metal is shown in this contango structure. On top of that, these circumstances tend to align with times when record backwardation presents excellent trading chances. This relationship is turned upside down by backwardation. When it comes to immediate delivery, one spot price is more expensive than futures prices. That one is crucial. Market players see a decrease in the price of silver as a result of the scarcity of actual metal compared to paper contracts. Regardless of the price of silver, we should have all been prioritizing physical assets above financial instruments. It's ironic that people didn't realize they should have invested in something more secure after Silicon Valley Bank failed to collapse. It took that long for them to realize it had happened. Make haste. Remain calm. Take the initiative instead of waiting for things to happen. If it affects your job, your bank account, your safety net, or your loved ones, you probably shouldn't do it. Stop sitting around and doing nothing. Show initiative. Crucial market mechanisms in a backwardation scenario. During backwardation periods, the technical analysis uncovers intriguing market patterns. According to Weiner, the basis is the difference between the spot and futures market prices. Buying pressure is concentrated in the futures contracts rather than the real metal when the basis rises or when the basis rises in tandem with rising prices. A dramatic departure from past trends is evident in the current state of the economy. In the past, when prices went up, futures bidding drove the basis up, and the co-basis measure of scarcity went down. This trend continued during the difficult years after silver's 2011 peak, according to market participants. But that has all changed as costs have climbed in the past few weeks. Concurrently, the silver co-basis has been going up, which means that most of the buying has been done using physical metal rather than futures contracts. This is a genuine silver squeeze. As a result, people are understandably coveting silver. Whatever I say, you don't really own something unless you can physically hold it. Plus, in theory, 250 plus people may claim ownership of every ounce you possess. Obviously, they aren't. Well, according to their written contract, they do. So technically, they do. However, the pretense would be exposed if all parties attempted to return the paper contracts. In a nutshell, it is the current situation. Market watchers are keeping a careful eye on the persistent silver supply shortages, and these dynamics are a contributing factor. Accordingly, a small yearly percentage for backwardation is 2 to 5% in terms of market implications, short-term supply constraints, moderate long-term physical demand, severe critical shortage situations, and extreme potential market disruption. How does a silver market reverse course? Physical metal is what humans desire, as we just discussed. All right, so now they've covered the reasons behind silver's industrial use. Everyone is aware that a large number of people are coming in from the investment industry in addition to the industrial sector. Many individuals are beginning to swap silver for Bitcoin or XRP or vice versa. These days, everyone seems to be wearing silver. As compared to gold, the market is quite little. Thus, the influx of cash has a greater impact on pricing than the price of gold. Because silver's market is far easier to influence and manipulate than gold's, banks focus their manipulation efforts there rather than gold. In that case, what does backwardation have to do with history? Given the rarity of silver backwardation episodes, the present situation is significant from a historical perspective. We will indeed learn about this in the annals of time. We are living through an event that will go down in history books very soon. Listen up, girl. We have only scratched the surface. This means long stretches, structural deficits, uncertain geopolitical situations, monetary policy, and significant changes in the economy. I can tell you from experience that all of this is true and will remain true. I see. Yeah, I get it. Consider this structural supply gap. There have been supply imbalances that have broken records during the past 5 years. In the past 5 or 6 years, we have gone over a billion-ounce deficit, which is a significant amount. Transformations of a significant scale in the economy. Undoubtedly, we are confronted with significant economic shifts and geopolitical unpredictability. Uncertainty in global politics and big changes in monetary policy are undeniable. And we are aware of that as well. The US currency is losing favor across nations. De-dollarization is now underway. Many nations are currently involved in various initiatives, such as the Belt Road Initiative, the BRICS grain trade, or the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Everything seems to be occurring at once these days. There have been numerous shifts of monetary and political dominance from the West to the East. To put it simply, it's too much. All things considered, nevertheless, they will have a positive upward impact on the silver price in the end. It's a bullish market. That, in a nutshell, is the current situation. Please try to grasp this a bit better. Just in case you're interested in reading it for yourself, I'll provide the link to this article. You know, I'm always telling people to do their homework. Be careful to get all of the answers right if you intend to complete your homework. Additionally, I strongly suggest going via Miles Franklin if you wish to buy any of these glittery things. Chief Executive Officer is Andy Schectman. For more than 3 decades, we have served the public. Weekly, we offer offers on gold, silver, and platinum. We have an enormous stock. Find amazing deals here. It's just a method of establishing a connection with a firm for the purpose of doing business. Andy never takes a day off from work. On any given day, you can find me working. Avoid purchasing from large corporations. Whoever is speaking up and attempting to assist others in the silver community deserves your support. I guess so. Regardless, I will end this video here. By the way, my GoFundMe effort is still active in relation to my custody dispute. We're getting close to our objective. I would be eternally grateful if you could spare the money to cover my lawyer's exorbitant expenses. I am in dire need of financial assistance. It has been a tough moment for me. But I'm so busy right now with everything. Thus, that has served to distract me from my problems. Additionally, I want to mention how supportive all of you have been. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I will now conclude this video. Be sure to remain tuned. Tomorrow at noon, Eastern Standard Time, I will release another video. Keep an eye out for more updates. Please give this video a thumbs up, comment, and share it. Thank you for sticking around to the very end. Silver Slayer here. Thank you for joining us. Meeting tomorrow at noon is on the agenda. No war.